Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Drop-In Morning Show, where the Teach Better team is live every single morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We are so excited to welcome you into this beautiful Tuesday, April 12th. We have so much to celebrate today, a brand new face to the Teach Better community. And of course, we're going to dive into our leadership topics, which is our theme this week. We're going to be able to get into some good news articles, some holidays, everything in between. So go fill up your coffee cup and we'll be right back. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. We have Caitlin Smith with us this morning. Caitlin, how you feeling?
I'm good, Rae. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to dive into your story, your background, all the work that you do, because you are a newer face to our community, and our Teach Better family is always excited to add new people into our PLN. So for people who may not be connected to you, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Caitlin Smith. I am the face behind How to Get Away with Teaching LLC, where we are a self-care support community for teachers, specifically providing support in self-care, subscription boxes, productivity support, mental wellness, and mental health resources and workbooks. So basically the work we do is surrounded around nurturing the whole teacher from the inside out. And that pretty much came from my own experience being a teacher. I am still teaching in the classroom in North Carolina. I've taught for a decade. So lots of experience, lots of ups and downs, and just doing my part to give back to the teacher community through a focus on mental health and to remove the stigma, especially as it surrounds teaching in that whole conversation. So the bulk of my work is talking about self-care, wellness, mental health as it relates to teaching.
Okay, we have so much to dive into with all that you shared.
Yeah.
Full-time teacher, but now we're talking about, you are combining my two favorite things. We're discussing a self-care concept, which I know is so important. It's so important in so many educators' lives. And mail. Hello, I love a good subscription box.
Yes.
Where did this idea come from?
Honestly, it was like, this is something that I needed, and it wasn't there with the focus on mental health that I wanted. So I thought, why don't I just create it? I launched my subscription box last year, actually in March. So we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary. And it's very cool because I'm able to talk to and connect with different therapists from around the country. I've spoken with sleep experts, nutritionists, life coaches, fitness coaches, just anybody who's in that world of well-being. I actually interview them, and I'm able to share those interviews with our subscribers, and we're able to meet with these people and talk with them and ask questions. And then also they include resources for our subscribers within the box. So it's like you're getting, therapy, you're getting nutrition, you're getting fitness, you're getting all of these things combined. Also with some awesome like little goodies that are just, those pick-me-ups for your true self-care.
I love this concept. I cannot believe you launched this in the middle of a global pandemic.
Me either.
While you were full-time teaching, and now made sure that you are doing it so authentically, not just throwing things into a box and saying, hey, let me mail this off to a few people, but doing the research and wanting to ensure that what you needed and couldn't find, other people can find. What an incredible background.
Yeah, and it really came from my own journey with burnout. And like when I first started teaching, I plunged like head into it. I was like, okay, I'm going to save the world. I'm going to save all the children. I'm going to be the best teacher that I can be. And hi, Mila. My daughter's leaving for school, so I had to wait. Bye. I wanted to be the best teacher that I could be. And I had no boundaries, no limitations. I didn't know how to say no. And I basically did not have a personal life. I was literally taking papers every single day to grade, spending my weekends grading, planning, prepping, doing lesson plans. Like, I did not have a personal life, and that was a problem. So really focusing on my own mental wealth, mental wealth, my mental well-being, my mental health, pouring and investing into myself was my way of being able to sustain within teaching. And that concept of how to get away with teaching was disrupting this good teacher narrative that society seems to have deemed on us, that, you know, in order to be a good teacher, you got to go above and beyond. You have to put yourself last. You got to do it for the kids. Like, yeah, I do, but I'm a human too. So I'm going to take care of myself in order to be well equipped to serve the students and families that I work with in my community. So it's all about disrupting that narrative and prioritizing yourself so that you can show up and show out in the spaces, you know, where you're needed.
I have so many directions and so many questions that I want to ask you. I'm going to apologize in advance for Daily Drop-In community. Guys, I'm going to be all over the place. I am so excited to hear your story. I have 1,000 questions. But Caitlin, when you are sharing with people that you are in the classroom working with students, which, by the way, what do you teach? Tell us a little bit about that.
I teach 5th grade literacy and social studies. So I'm in elementary. I've taught grades 2, 3, 4, and now 5. I've found my sweet spot with 4th and 5th grade. Beginning in 2012, I started my career in elementary education. Then I went back and got a master's in curriculum and instruction. And then I love learning so much, I went and got another master's in teaching English as a second language. So I'm able to put all of those skills and strategies and everything I've learned together in order to support my 5th graders now. A fun fact is before the pandemic, which was 2 years ago, I had the same group of kids when they were in 3rd grade. So it's kind of like we got to pick up where we left off this year in 5th grade. I already knew them, knew their families. We already had relationships. So we just got the ball rolling at the beginning of this year. And we were able to kind of tie up those loose ends that were kind of cut off by the pandemic. So right now I am teaching 5th grade here in Charlotte. I have 2 classes. So I have about 53 5th graders that I teach between 2 classes. And I just love it. It's great.
I have to say, I have so many people that I speak with that find ways to not only teach and give back to students, but also give back to educators. And your company that allows the subscription box to be shared with educators is absolutely giving back. And I know that this came from your need and your desire to find something that you couldn't locate. But what is the story behind going from making a decision that you couldn't find what you needed and now celebrating a year anniversary of a subscription box that I see all over Instagram all the time? Educators are enjoying it. I mean, how does that occur? Was that a big leap for you?
Yeah, that was a huge leap. It was kind of a talk with my husband, and I was like, I really want to do this. Like, idea came to me in 2015, and I really struggle with imposter syndrome. So I was like, you know what? You know, somebody else is going to do it. They already have a couple out there. Like, you know, that's not for me. So I talked myself out of it multiple times. So back in 2015, I had this idea. I shared it with my then boyfriend. Now we're married. And, you know, he pushed me. He was like, Caitlin, if you want to do this, let's do it. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I'm coming up with every reason to self-sabotage, every reason to say no, every reason to be like, no, this is not going to work, whatever. And it was in a conversation we were walking the dog and pushing our daughter in the stroller. And he was like, you know, we've got some money set aside. I think we can launch. I think we can do this. And we did some research, got our business plan together, and stepped out on faith. And here I am a year later. So
amazing. So I know we're going to touch on so many things throughout our time this morning. Introducing you to our Teach Better family. I know they're all going to go follow you on social media and learn all about your story. But I also would love to have everybody go choose to learn more about the subscription box, this opportunity that we all have to invest in ourselves. I love this concept. So will you tell us a little bit about where we could learn more if we were looking to, after this, go figure out how to be a partner in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the subscription box, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at How to Get Away with Teaching. Also, our website has just been remodeled and it's beautiful. www.howtogetawaywithteaching.com. You can also look us up on Crate Joy, where the tagline is just Get Away with Teaching. So you can find us in those 4 spaces. And that's pretty much it. I'd love to connect with everybody.
No, that's perfect. I'm so excited for everyone to go explore that and find the right fit.
Yes.
And Caitlin, I know you have so much to share, but I did want to make sure we highlighted that as soon as possible. As we get into our dialogue this morning, one of the first things that we like to do in the morning is document a moment of gratitude using an app that is called Happy Feed. It was a recommendation from somebody who actually joined the show about 6 weeks ago. And it's a free app that allows us to document a moment of gratitude and then revisit those moments of gratitude, which is just kind of fun to think about, reflect on those moments. If you were to consider your moment of gratitude this morning, something you're really thankful for and appreciative of, what would that be for you?
This morning, I would just say being able to open up my eyes, like that moment of waking up and I'm still on this side and I'm able to do the work that truly aligns with my purpose. And being able to have discussions with people all over the country. I get to see my daughter and look in her big, bright, beautiful eyes, and my husband and my dog. And, I've really struggled with practicing gratitude, but I will say that made a huge difference in my self-care journey, was just really extending thanks for the smallest of things that we, sometimes take for granted. So I will say, starting off by opening my eyes, that was my moment of gratitude.
Such a wonderful moment of gratitude, something that so many of us are going to be so thankful for this morning. I love that. Documented in our Happy Feed app. We'll be right back with our Brainstorm Bank. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Drop-In Morning Show. We are thrilled that you are tuning in this morning live as we stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. Also, a shout out to those of you who are listening on Teach Better Talk podcast after the fact. We're so appreciative that you are here, that you are learning, that you are active in your learning experience, and of course, that you are connecting with Caitlin, a new face to our community who has a ton to share. Caitlin, I know that we have so many things that we're going to dive into our Brainstorm Bank segment. This is a time when we can take questions from our community in the comments and then also discuss our theme for the week. Our theme for this week, as we slowly get in on this Tuesday morning, is all about leadership practices. When I share that is our topic for this morning, what is your initial thoughts on discussing leadership practices?
Initially, I immediately think about administration and district leaders and state leaders and how their role directly connects to teaching and the work that we do. Leadership practices, I think about transparency. I think about being a active participant in the learning and the coaching that you are providing to your teachers, specifically for admin. And then immediately I think about how far removed you are from the classroom can directly impact your leadership practices and policies. And sometimes that can be beneficial, sometimes not so much. I do think when we do have leaders who are in positions where they're, pretty far removed from the classroom, that it's oftentimes they need that refresher and they need to work hands-on with students. And sometimes I think that gives a really good reality check of what's going on in the classroom on the ground so that you know how to change practices and alter policies so that you can meet the needs of your learners. And everyone's leadership practice is Not created equally. So I do think there's lots of work that can be done from what I'm hearing from the Instagram community when it comes to leadership. But there are amazing leaders out there who are doing the work, who I want to shout them out. The administration who are being amazing, who have supported teachers and teacher assistants, paraprofessionals, and their staff, from near and far. I just want to shout those people out. But, there's always room to grow when it comes to any practice that you're trying to begin.
Absolutely. So as you're thinking through leadership practices, obviously your experience in the classroom working with students, your experience also in facilitating your own company, supporting educators, you have kind of like these dual roles and perspectives of what a leader should look like. What do you feel like is maybe the most important characteristic or attribute for a good leader to possess?
Oh, wow. That's hard.
Question.
To try to narrow it down, I would say leading with empathy, and understand where your staff, where your employees, where your team is coming from. I think leading with empathy and a heart that really understands where people are coming from. And that is how you are able to direct your decisions, and take others' feelings and emotions and opinions into account. Number one piece, and understanding that the people on your team, you hired them because they should be considered experts. So taking their opinions and their thoughts into account and involving them in the instructional guidelines or the planning and practice and the policies and all of that work that goes on behind the scenes. So I would say leading with the heart of empathy, but that's just my number one. I have many more opinions.
Well, I'm sure, but leading with empathy really allows you to not only trust and get to know the people that you're working with, but also ensure that you are doing it for those right core reasons that are incredibly helpful. With your business that I know you're doing also while teaching, have you found that leadership characteristic is something that you are working on as you're working with, I can only imagine the types of people you must be working with, not only to interview to get the content, but also then to put it together and send it out?
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm just an empathetic person, period. And I just am able to lead with that. And I'm always thinking about the experience of the customer. As a classroom teacher, I'm able to go back to that mindset of, am I that teacher that's on the brink of burnout? When I open this box, what is this experience going to provide for me? And I go through that thought process to ensure that the products I'm selecting are of quality and that they serve a purpose that are going to meet the needs of our subscribers. And when it comes to leadership, I have to learn the business side, because I'm more so like emotion focused. So my husband's been really beneficial in helping me understand the business aspect of it, and that I do have to make decisions that will benefit the company. So I'm learning those two pieces at the same time.
Well, and it's interesting. I think that is a part of leadership, whether you're a principal or an assistant principal or superintendent or a business owner, you're constantly thinking about how can I work towards my mission? How can I support my staff, my community?
Right.
But then also what's the bottom line that I need to ensure that I stay above so that I can ensure that everything stays floating, right?
Right. Yeah, to ensure that, I can keep this company running, what are some, decisions that I have to make that will benefit everyone? And recently I had to do a new box design because I was really looking forward to the 1-year anniversary. So I was able to contact a vendor in China, and that was very scary because I'm oil prices, gas, there's lots of things that are impacting the cost of shipping, and that's going to impact the cost of the box. So just trying to take everything into account when providing the service to ensure that I could still provide it moving forward.
No, and you have to assume that regardless of who's listening this morning, everybody has leadership roles in different capacities, right? And anytime you are in any sort of leadership role, you're trying to take all this information in, sort it all out, and make the best decision possible. And that is the same whether you are leading students, whether you're leading staff, whether you're leading your Instagram community. I mean, you are constantly just consuming, collecting data and saying, okay, what's the best way possible that I can get this all in order. And
Right.
that is not easy to do.
It's not. It's very difficult. And I don't think as teachers, we realize that we have these capabilities because we do them every single day. And it's because it's in a classroom, because we're working directly with kids, it's not seen as that way. But that's a transferable skill, like that people do in corporate every single day. We take curriculum and we condense it down to meet the needs of our learners. And that's a skill that is very difficult. And I think teachers do it beautifully, like every single day. That's what we do. Shout out to the teachers. Y'all are great.
Yeah. Love it. Shout out to the teachers on this beautiful Tuesday. It's absolutely true. I think that there's so much to be able to dive into here, but I do want to make sure that we also highlight your expertise. If I was to ask you kind of like your soapbox moment, something you're incredibly passionate about that you don't want any educator to forget as they, interact with you and engage with your content, what would that be?
Oh my gosh. First thing immediately, and I might cry about it because I get so emotional because this was me, like starting my career. Like, do not lose or do not sacrifice your identity for the sake of this job, because at the end of the day, teaching is a job. I know it's our passion. And because those lines are like so close, it's easy to blur them and for your passion to drive your instruction and make you just want to jump into the work and be all about teaching. You're thinking about it. You're grading papers, you're planning curriculum, you are preparing, you're cutting out lamination, like you're making copies. Like I've been there. Okay. I have been that girl sleeping at midnight or, sleep at 4 p.m., waking up after at 6. I barely ate a salad or whatever for dinner. And then I'm grading from 6 to midnight. Like, that's not okay. That is not okay. I completely lost my identity through teaching. Like I knew who I was, I feel like, before I started teaching. And then I tried to fit into this mold of what society told me a good teacher was. And now 10 years later, I'm having to go to therapy and do the work to unpack, to unlearn some of those toxic habits. So my number one thing, my soapbox, don't lose your identity just because you're a teacher. Like you are somebody outside of being a classroom teacher, outside of being a principal, outside of being an AP. Like you are a person, you're a human being, not a human doing. So do not lose your identity. Continue to be who you are and continue to do the things that you love outside of teaching, because that's your humanity. That's who you are. And that's who you bring to the classroom every day. And if you lose that, it becomes kind of robotic and then you won't recognize yourself. It's a really, really dark place that I don't want any teacher to have to go through.
So as you're thinking through that advice, I couldn't agree more with that soapbox. Like that's absolutely a wonderful reminder, especially in the middle of April, as we are continuing it through this year. But, here on the Daily Drop-In, we are always trying to find what's like the action step. What is the tactical takeaway? It's such a valuable reminder. Is there anything that we can challenge our community to do to say, okay, we don't want you to lose yourself. We want you to constantly be doing that gut check. How am I taking care of myself? What type of challenge or actual activity can we provide our community to say, okay, do this every single day or do this once a week, and that's going to allow you to continue on this path?
Yeah, I would say conduct a boundary audit. And what that looks like is where you have, this is under the assumption that you have established boundaries. So if you have not established boundaries, you might need to backtrack a little bit, establish some boundaries. So what that looks like is think about the specific areas that relate to your job that bring you the most stress, that bring you the most pressure, that, kind of cause your shoulders to tense up or for you to hold and clench your jaw. Like notice those things about yourself, because those are areas that are bringing you stress, that you may need to surround with a boundary. So I would say first, set and establish boundaries. And then once you have established those, write them down. Okay. And then try to implement them throughout the week. At the end of the week, you can do a check-in, like a boundary audit, and kind of score yourself on how did you do when it came to those boundaries. I'll give you a prime example. Myself was very, very I was very anxious when it came to discussing data with my administration, because I felt like I knew I was doing everything that I could for the kids. I knew I was delivering quality instruction. But yet, sometimes the scores didn't align with what they wanted. And I'm like, what what do y'all expect? Like, that's what I want to say, obviously, what y'all expect, but I can't say that. So I would prepare beforehand. I would analyze my data on my own, and I would literally write down exactly what I wanted to say. And that was my boundary. I am not going to say anything outside of these notes that I have written down. And if a thought comes to me, I will request a meeting to speak one-on-one. But 9 times out of 10, I was really intentional and thoughtful when it came to the comments that I wrote down. And I had already prepared what I needed to say for that data meeting. I went in there confident. I went in there knowing my data, knowing my numbers, knowing student misconceptions. And I was like able to say what I had to say. And that freed me of that tense feeling that I felt when it was just like, here are your scores, like explain them. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say. So that was something that I had to do, where I'm going to assess my data before I know I have to do this required data meeting. Obviously, I can't be like, I don't want to go to the meeting. But, I had to do what I had to do to ensure that I was prepared. Another boundary that could be really helpful, and I learned this from my mentor teacher, in 2011, set days where you are going to leave on time. Like, I understand sometimes we like to stay at work a little bit later to get our work done. Been there, done that. Wonderful. But perhaps one day a week, start off maybe on Fridays. I'm going to take my backpack, my, teacher bag, or maybe I'm going to leave it there, whatever floats your boat. And I'm going to have my stuff prepared by the time the dismissal bell rings. And I'm going to leave work and I'm going to mentally disconnect. And that's the hard part. It's just not thinking about, what happened at work or at school during the day. So a boundary could be, I'm going to start off by leaving one day a week. Start off small. I'm leaving at my contract time. Then you can up it to 2 days a week, and then with the audit on Fridays, you have to make sure that you tap in with your feelings. Like, how did that make you feel? Sticking to your boundary. If you found that it was beneficial, keep on doing it. If you found that it was pretty difficult, you want to unpack why. And if it wasn't working for you, that's when you kind of got to regroup and determine what's another area that you can work on, or what's another suggestion that you can implement to work on whatever it is that's causing you stress.
Well, I really value this cycle of understanding yourself, setting some parameters or boundaries for yourself, trying them out, right? Putting them into action, into your daily, monthly, weekly routine, and then being able to reflect afterwards and say, am I actually able to do what I wanted? Why am I not able to, or why am I able to? And how can I move forward with a successful plan, whether that be tweaking your plan or adjusting your plan, or even searching out resources to better implement your plan. Sometimes we have boundaries that we are struggling to meet, but it's just because we haven't figured out the right resources to support us day over day to actually hit those expectations.
Right. Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a process, and it's trial and error. Think about it like a project where I'm going to try this and see what happens. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to try something else. If it does work, I'm going to keep on doing it, because with your self-care, it's not overnight. It's consistent. It is, more than just luxury bubble baths and chocolates and wine, although we love those things, right? But that's temporary. And the true inner work is going to take some consistency over time.
So good. Caitlin, we are going to take a really quick break to celebrate the fact that we announced 2 new speakers for the Teach Better Conference in 2022 yesterday. So we'll be right back as we continue to celebrate Dr. Neil Gupta and Kevin Butler. And we'll be right back with Caitlin to continue this conversation. much conversation thus far. If people are just tuning in right now, I have to encourage them to make sure they go back and continue to listen to what they've missed, because you've been able to share so many tips and tricks. We actually just announced for our Teach Better conference happening October 14th and 15th, 2 new speakers yesterday, which was that little commercial that we were able to share, celebrating 2 more faces on our speaker lineup. But we also have proposals open to speak at this event, just an opportunity for educators to share their voice. Are you somebody who has explored presenting at a conference? Can you give any insight on your experience with that?
Yeah, I've actually, oh gosh, I just did the E2E reboot for the summer over this past summer. I just did that. I spoken at the Soul Led Educators Conference that happened, I believe, last summer. Let's see. And I am preparing to speak at the Teacher Mommy conference that will happen in, I believe it's June. So I am one that will speak at conferences. I love sharing information, especially with educators, and I love learning and connecting with people from all over. So yeah, definitely.
Well, we definitely need to figure out a way to get you to the Better conference. But would you mind now any like strategies or words of encouragement, words of advice for an educator that might be tuning in saying, okay, Caitlin, I'm not only a huge fan of you, I'm a huge fan of the work you're doing. Now you're telling me that presenting at conferences is something that I can go do. Any strategies on applying or preparing for an experience like that? Maybe even getting up the courage to put your voice out there to a different community.
Yeah, I would definitely say plan an outline of what your goals are, your objectives. You know, that's what teachers do. We plan lessons, so you can plan a presentation just the same. But speak from your heart and really consider yourself as your avatar or the person that you're speaking to. What types of things would you need to say to that person, perhaps when you were at a specific point in your career? What things would you need to say? What did you need to hear at that point in your career? And speak from there. And I guarantee the words will flow. You'll be able to get over that anxiety or any fear that you may have when it comes to speaking with people, because it's coming from the heart. And that's what people connect to, knowing that they're not alone and knowing that, you can overcome specific challenges, and they will learn that from you. Everyone has a story to share. So don't think that you don't have anything to offer, because I guarantee you do.
Oh, I love that encouragement. Friends, I hope you go submit a proposal. They're open through the rest of the month. There's so much time, but I really would love to see everyone in our Teach Better community choosing to share their voice. There's hour-long sessions you can present. There are 20-minute sessions you can present. There's so many different strategies. Caitlin, I know that there's so many different topics educators could share on, because we have so many different experiences throughout the day. But even if you think through, what are 5 intentional minutes that you use in your day that you're willing to share with somebody else and share that insight? There's so many different topics that people can explore. So I appreciate your words of encouragement. I hope that people take that on.
Of course, absolutely. I hope so too.
So as we wrap up our brain break segment, and we're going to transition here into like good news and celebrating a good news article that we also have and all those different pieces, what is one piece, one major takeaway that you hope our community considers this morning? It's Tuesday, it's April 12th. All of us are either headed into the classroom or we're enjoying, I know you're on spring break. So what is one major takeaway you hope that somebody fully understands before they head into their morning?
That's a tough question. I would definitely say the work that you are doing, it matters. You are having an impact that extends beyond the test scores, beyond the data, beyond standardized assessments. I know it's that season, and often that can bring a lot of frustration and a lot of being really hard on yourself. I've been there where the scores just were not what they wanted it to be. And I was very hard on myself, blaming myself, thinking it was my fault, that I should have, could have, would have done more, all of that. We are just wrapping up. Well, not even wrapping up. We're still 2 years of the pandemic that we have endured. So give yourself all the grace in the world and then some more. The same patience, the same love, the same support, the same, grace that you give to your students, give that to yourself. because the work that you are doing, the impact extends far beyond test scores. So that's the little nugget that I would share.
Such good insight, such good empowerment. I encourage you all to take on that advice and continue to reach out to people like Caitlin when you are struggling or needing to learn more strategies to be better in this area. It's so important that we continue to keep that lens in perspective. Caitlin, we'll be right back with some good news and some holidays.
All right.
All right, friends, as we wrap up our show this morning, Caitlin Smith has shared so much insight. Now we're getting into some good news and some holidays. Caitlin, how do you feel about celebrating holidays? Are you big into finding a reason to celebrate?
I would say when it comes to certain holidays with my family, absolutely. I've become lately really big on birthdays. My birthday is in just a week. So I'm going to be 33 next week. And it's the first time that I'm actually going to have like a celebration in honor of like myself. Because like I said, I struggled with imposter syndrome. I struggled with postpartum depression after having my daughter. So just went through some pretty dark seasons and feeling like, I didn't need to acknowledge myself or that I wasn't worthy of, celebrating myself. So I take every opportunity. Like I said, waking up in the morning, that's a celebration. So I'm not too big on holidays because every single day is a celebration for me and my family. And it's gotten to the point where, we're just celebrating the small things, even the big things too. But it's just finding the joy in the moments that matter that has really kept me thriving.
Well, Caitlin, I couldn't agree more with your mindset. I think that's why I love being able to highlight some goofy holidays every day, because as we celebrate being able to wake up and have our health and well-being every single day, sometimes it's just fun to giggle at all the other reasons we can celebrate too, in case anyone is struggling. But I will say, Caitlin, I think we all need to celebrate your birthday with you. So when are you turning 33? When's the official day?
On the 19th, April 19th, I will be 33.
All right. So the entire Teach Better community is going to be here to celebrate your birthday. I love that you are choosing to celebrate this year. I too find myself not wanting to be like, oh, it's my day. It feels weird to brag on myself, but you've achieved so much. You have a ton to celebrate, and I would love for our community to continue to celebrate with you too. So April 19th, big holiday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Exactly a week from today, next Tuesday, it'll be a big day.
And it'll be fun because that's when our spring break is over and I return to the classroom on Tuesday because we have a teacher work day on Monday. So the kids are very excited. I know half of them will be like, oh man, Miss Smith, I forgot. But we're going to party it up anyway.
I love it. I love it. Well, today, in case anybody's looking for a celebration, obviously we can celebrate the fact that we woke up on this beautiful Tuesday. We can obviously celebrate the fact that Caitlin's birthday is in a week. So that's a celebration in and of itself. It is also grilled cheese sandwich day. So if you are somebody needing an excuse to eat a grilled cheese sandwich, I mean, that feels like a holiday to me.
I love a good grilled cheese.
I love it. I love it. Other strange holidays today. I love celebrating these weird ones. International Day to be kind to a lawyer. I mean, why not? I think we should always be kind to lawyers, but
I feel like they need that.
It's also National Big Wind Day, celebrating the wind. Okay, why not?
Nature, yes.
Nature.
Get it out there.
I love it. National Licorice Day is also today. So there are a lot of things to celebrate. I think I'm leaning more towards the grilled cheese, to be honest.
Yeah, I would take that out of the three. I'm leaning towards the grilled cheese for sure.
I just think sometimes I log into this site and we have a way that we kind of double check to make sure we kind of hit as many as possible, not only cultural holidays, religious holidays, but then also those goofy holidays. Sometimes we log in and there's like 55 holidays. Sometimes we log in and there's only like 4. So today would be a good day. If any of you want to create a holiday, April 12th, today's the day. There's not too many. You can share it with our grilled cheese.
There you go. That's it.
In addition to our goofy holidays, we also typically share a good news article. And our goal with this, Caitlin, is just to say, hey, is there something good happening in the world that we can either bring to our students as a discussion starter or even bring to our colleagues to continue to foster those relationships? Before we get into this good news article, Caitlin, what's been your experience choosing to foster relationships with your colleagues. Have you been able to do anything that's been helpful to continue to grow those relationships with the people you work with?
Yeah, I just say being vulnerable. Like, I think, throughout the past few years, especially being vulnerable with your trusted colleagues, emphasis on trusted people that you can trust with your tea, so that they're not spilling it all over the school. But ensuring that you are vulnerable and you have some sort of community, whether they're on your grade level or not, but just finding connection and finding those people who, like, you could just look at them in the hallway and it's just like, a girl, like, I already understand. You don't have to say anymore because I feel you. And then those people that you can vent to, the shoulder that you can cry on, who you can go to for help. I think it begins with vulnerability. And that comes from, building a trusting relationship first and then letting down those walls so that you have someone to connect to who just gets it. Because, we can talk to our partners about it, and sometimes they just don't get it because they're not there. They've not been in the classroom. They don't know what it's like. And oftentimes it's better to kind of get all of the frustration out while you're at school so that you don't mentally bring the load home to your partner and to your family, taking that attention away from them. So definitely leading with vulnerability and ensuring that you are talking to a trusted colleague. I want to reiterate that part.
Love that. Leading with vulnerability. And I know it's tricky to try out who you should be trusting. I love that trusted colleague reminder. As you continue to foster those relationships, I love this focus of leading with vulnerability, assuming the best, and then doing your best to put them in the right space in your life is such an important reminder. With this good news article, this could be a way that you test out some conversation with a new colleague today, or even an opportunity for us to bring it to students and foster good discussion. Caitlin, this good news article this morning is titled Solar Panels That Make Electricity at Night Are Finally Here, and they're cheap and don't need batteries. So for many of you that know, solar panels have been a big focus over the last few years trying to work on solar energy. It says about 750 million people in the world do not have access to electricity at night because solar panels are only collecting that energy during the day. They have finally, as of just recently, discovered a way for solar panels to collect energy in the evening, which is going to be huge as we continue to explore solar panels in the mainstream our lives. It says that researchers at Stanford University conducted a research study that looked at how the device can actually change the way it works to work in the evening. While this has not been rolled out in our mainstream world yet, it's definitely something that's very exciting. And they actually go through in this article at goodnewsnetwork.org kind of the way that they are doing the research and how it works. There's some really great infographics if you want to bring that to students and have a conversation around this incredible science. So I have to tell you, I feel like every time there's a new technology out, I am shocked that people in the world have found these incredible discoveries. So definitely a good news article this morning.
That's so cool. Like, when you said science, like exploration with students, like my teacher brain immediately went to a lesson. Like, oh, this is a great idea for a science lesson. Like, and just people who are innovative and doing, see a problem and do the work, do the research to try to determine solutions. Oh, wow. So many lesson plans from that. I love it.
So many lesson plans. Caitlin, I want to make sure our community stays connected to you. I know I really enjoy following you on Instagram. I know that you have so much that you're able to give, not only in the content that you're sharing on social media, but obviously with your business, with the subscription boxes, and just as an educator, constantly sharing the work that you are striving to do to better students and your colleagues and everything in between. How can people stay connected?
Yeah, so you can follow me at How to Get Away with Teaching on Instagram and Facebook. You can read our blog and visit our website at www.howtogetawaywithteaching.com. There you can also purchase subscription boxes. You can purchase past boxes if you want to get a gift for a friend or a grade level team, or support your school staff. We just had someone buy boxes for their entire daycare staff yesterday. So I'm really excited to be branching out into different areas and supporting that way. We do have our spring cleaning sale going on. So all past boxes are $24.99. That's right, $24.99. So $25 for any past subscription box. You can buy them straight off of Instagram or Facebook, or from our website at www.howtogetawaywithteaching.com.
Oh, Caitlin, I so appreciate you waking up during spring break to talk to our community. We are going to figure out a way to get you at the Teach Better conference and continue to be a part of our Teach Better family. So thank you so much for waking up bright and early for this.
Absolutely, Rae. It was such a pleasure. Like I said, I'm up anyway. I have a toddler. Shout out to all the moms who are teachers out there. Like, I don't know how we do it. I don't know, but we do. So definitely excited to have joined the Teach Better community. And this was such a pleasure. I really enjoyed myself.
Oh, I so appreciate it. For everybody else, have a wonderful Tuesday. It is April 12th, and there is so much to celebrate and be appreciative of. Please let us know if there's anything that we can do to better support you. We have our admin mastermind starting here at the top of the hour and then also later this afternoon. So if you are a leader in any way, shape, or form, whether it be a coach, an assistant principal, a director, a superintendent, this is a great community for you. So feel free to learn more at teachbetter.com/mastermind. For everyone else, we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Bye, friends.
Have a great day.